Hi, everybody. I see we have a ton of people who have already joined us, so thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to wait a minute more just to see because I see a lot of people are still trickling in. All right, I think we can get started. So welcome everybody to today's webinar. We're going to be talking about why authorization matters for humans and AI agents. So we are entering into a brave new world where both humans and AI agents need authorization around them. They need guardrails. So, we have new actors entering. That is agentic AI, and things are moving super fast in this field. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be joined by Frontegg's CEO and co-founder, Sagi Rodin. He will be having a fireside chat together with Roy Daniel, our solutions engineer. So Roy will be walking us through a very quick demo of Frontegg's authorization capabilities, both for our core customer IAM platform as well as for our Frontegg AI. Those are our two sides of our business. And but the main focus is going to be on the fireside chat. Also, at the end of the webinar, there will be time for audience Q&A. So right now, if everybody would like to take a look at the upper right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see a question mark icon. So if during the webinar something comes up for you and you want to ask your question, just have it there ready to go so it's fresh on your mind. Feel free to write your question in the middle of the webinar. Otherwise, you can just wait until the Q&A portion comes, and you can put your question in there, and Sagi and Roy will be happy to address what's on your mind. Just to note that the session is being recorded and will be sent to everyone who registered at the end. And if anybody has any concerns beyond their questions, something comes up, technically, whatever it is, just write it in the chat throughout the webinar. We will be monitoring that. So with that being said, I'd love to welcome Sagi Rodin, our CEO, and Roy Daniel for our fireside chat.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. Hey Sagi.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you, Lior. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you. I'm coming to you from the Boston area. Sagi is currently in New York. I see we have a lot of people, Washington, D.C., Ohio, Denver. Thank you so much. All right, so let's just get started. We're just going to go through a few different scenarios, a few different questions. If you all have any questions, please submit them also in the chat, and we're happy to answer them either now or later. So let's get started. So Sagi, just before we really dive in, let's set the stage a little bit. So as Lior mentioned, we are talking about authorization in the context of both humans and AI agents. So let's talk a little bit about the difference. Why are we talking about authorization specifically when it comes to humans and AI agents?
Yeah, so I think that it's pretty much the hottest topic around. We're kind of seeing that AI agents becoming definitely part of our workflows today, both as just human beings that are using the internet, buying products, right, asking questions, personal questions, and sometimes mixing questions from their workspace. And we see basically more and more, I would say, usage of these interfaces within our workplaces for the purpose of solving some of the day-to-day challenges we have in our jobs. And the move kind of the users from accessing the products and clicking buttons to accessing AI platforms to agents that are acting on behalf of those users. That's definitely a shift that is very obvious today. And I think that once the software can act on its own, authentication becomes kind of the seatbelt, right? And in Frontegg.ai, we are trying to deal with this challenge of first of all enabling the vendors to build these applications, these agents, but in a safe manner, in a manner that those can be actually used in world life kind of use cases. And at the end of the day, this is definitely a big challenge that if we don't solve it, it would withhold the whole progress. Because if you put an agent out there and it tries to find all ways to, all paths to succeed and to find a way to solve the request, and if the requests are fraudulent or not legit, then if we don't stop it, it will do a lot of damage. So this is what we're trying to do: how you keep speed and advance in operation, but still keeping it safe with clear guardrails. And that's I think that if we succeed doing that, we will open up a whole new era of predictability and user experience, and that's very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I can say, as someone who does a lot of demos for our clients, that number one, we have a lot of clients, like new companies, new startups that are trying to build AI agents themselves, right, as just their core product. But also we have a lot of companies that are looking to do things a little differently with this whole AI revolution that everyone's talking about. Agents are going to do all these different things, and there's so many concerns, security concerns, when it comes to just letting someone handle your enterprise code, your enterprise space, right? So you touched on that a little bit, but let's maybe talk a little more about like what are some of the unique challenges that we're specifically trying to solve for. Maybe scopes, maybe anything like that.
So I think that at the end of the day, there's an evolution of predictability and what can you do with an agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that first of all, there's unique challenges in the way that you can identify if the agent is even real. Who does it work for? Does it work on behalf of a user? Right? How do you know whether the agent that you're working with right now is the same one that you interacted with 5 days ago? What even identifies an agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then once you kind of understood that, you need to allow the agent to connect to the ecosystem, to the tools. Otherwise, it will be very hard to get real value out of it. And that has to be done in a secure manner, obviously, as well. And I would say that the third thing, we're starting with policies, right? So once the agent is connected, we want to make sure that we have the clear guardrails to make sure that they're acting on behalf of a user and that it's still true, first of all, and they didn't went kind of rogue on their own. But also, once those guardrails are set, we want to make sure that everything is auditable and noticeable, and you get the right notifications once something happens. So I think it's kind of those levels of allowing it to work first, then allowing it to really get value by connecting it to external tools, and then making sure that you have clear visibility over everything that's happening. And I would say that each and one of those are huge challenges today, because almost none of those issues are really solved in an enterprise grade manner.
Yeah. And, I'm sure everyone here worked with Claude or ChatGPT, and if you try to get it to do the same task, a few times in a row, you're going to get slightly different results, and that's not necessarily what you want in an enterprise situation. Like, I think another term that gets thrown a lot lately is, digital employees. And so we just talked about, like, what are the key authorization principles that they need, right? So the key ones, like you mentioned, are going to be observability, like to be able to actually monitor and audit and drill down into every small thing that agent does, right? We want to make sure we understand that. And we have a few exciting releases, I think, coming for that specific problem soon too, when it comes to policies, right? But we're going to also demo a few already existing features in a bit. Let's talk maybe a little bit about the risks, right? So, like, okay, so we say we want to be able to recognize that AI agent. We want to be able to have observability. Like, what are some of the risks if we're negligent, if we give it the wrong scopes? Like, what are we risking, right?
Yeah, so definitely we're risking real things, right? Think about cross-tenant data leakages, and we've seen several attacks or hacks that happened recently in on AI platforms, well-known AI platforms, agents that run past a boundary, and that can make changes. They can make changes they should not make. Or the slow death, right? Security blocks the rollout, and your agent, will never leave kind of the pilot stage. And teams sometimes think that that they can just tighten those permissions later and everything will be okay. But the truth is that permission model basically is the product. It's not a side effect. It's not an addition. It's not an additional feature. So definitely have to take care of that from day one.
Yeah, there was an interesting incident that happened about a month ago with Replit, where an AI agent deleted the entire production database of one of the people who were testing it out, and then it also lied about deleting it. And so, they had to drill down several different questions until they actually got to have the agent admit, yes, sorry, I deleted this. And then Replit had to do a bunch of refactoring to make sure that doesn't happen again. So it's a huge challenge. I would be interested for the people in the chat. What are your guardrails? What are some tools that you guys use? Like I use Cloud Code. That's like my tool of choice. And you can limit access to certain files. You can do a lot of planning with it before you execute, right? I found it to be incredible for small applications, for day-to-day usage. Like internally, as you know, I built a tool for our team to help manage our clients, right, in a better way and better data collection. So for those things, it's amazing. It's a total game changer, and I'm really excited. To see what comes next when we actually reach that enterprise level. So from you talk to a lot of VCs, a lot of CEOs, CTOs. So what do you hear from them? Like, what are they looking for to aspire that confidence and to actually make that leap, right, to the next step of actually using this in production?
Yeah. So I think that, first of all, there's definitely a lot of AI native companies that are building agents. We see also that there are SaaS companies with successful existing products that are adding some agentic capabilities to their existing products, right? I think that definitely it's an interesting era where, on the one hand, a lot of companies created a lot of value along the years, and on the other hand, we see that definitely there's new companies that are creating very fast values through very quick progress, and that's fascinating on both of those ends, right? Like creating innovation 0 to 1 that is happening with AI agents, but also helping existing products just be accessed or used, operated in a much faster manner through copilots and AI. And and yeah, I think that one thing that we still uh, don't see a lot is enterprise use cases of full agentic operability, where you would see organizations that are operating most of their SaaS applications not through point and click, but um, um, through agentic kind of describe and done activities, the way that I like to call them. And why it's not happening, why we're still kind of receiving information or improving existing user experience or existing workflows, and not doing the whole operation, our day-to-day operation through agents, is mainly because those are not trusted yet. So we definitely see a gap where, as I mentioned, like you need to identify the agents, you need to trust them, you need to build kind of this, credit score system where you trust this, machine that is working in front of you, that is kind of acting like a user, but is not really a user, and that it's not, taking the information of somebody else. You can be rest assured that the info is well segregated and not being leaked. It's not asking you to expose the social security number of your boss, or the credit card of your peers, and you just provide the result. So I think that these are still things that are keeping from real progress, like real revolution, from happening. But as great companies try to find solutions for these challenges, and I believe that we're trying to stay in front of that with Frontegg.ai and future releases that we will have. We will definitely see that we're kind of enabling real transformation happening, and a lot of SaaS applications in a year from now will not act and will not be consumed the way they are consumed today. But things need to happen in order to unlock this value, and we're doing that. We're handling that with a lot of hard work, because you cannot miss. Just imagine what will happen when that goes to production, and a leakage or something that happened, like you mentioned with Rapid, will happen with your existing SaaS application. So we need to make sure that it's tight, that it's trustworthy. But then after that will happen, there's going to be a very interesting era, a new era of SaaS.
Yeah, for sure. As I mentioned before, we're seeing a lot of our clients that are starting to move into that direction. I think, the sort of sarcastic take on it maybe is that people don't want to be left behind with their tech, but it's really, a lot of it is also about how can we rethink what we're doing in our org, how can we improve, how can we be more productive. I know that it changed the way we do things in Frontegg. Like, our developers also use these tools every day, right? And we're bringing our experience, because we have 6 years of experience with end user, like normal human user authentication and authorization, and it puts us in an interesting position where we can really compare those different challenges. What does a human need? What does an agent need? What did clients use API automations for in the past, and how can we move that over to an agent that maybe can reason, and we're going to show an example of that in a bit. Cool. So I guess just looking ahead, we have probably a few people in the audience that are building tools, right? So where do you see the biggest opportunities for companies, for newcomers, but also for enterprises to future-proof their products, get better authorization, and also if you were advising someone to build an AI agent today, what's the sort of one piece of advice that you would give them around access control and authorization?
Yeah, so I think that we need to think about policies, guardrails, and binding them to the tools and the actions straight away, because we never know what would be the end user's interface connecting to these tools that we expose, right? So we cannot trust that those guardrails will be applied on the the chat surface kind of. So it needs to be binded to the tools, right? We need to make consent a first class kind of citizen, so that users connect to the system, that through the agents will have scopes that they understand. So that could be using permissions like we're used to using today with role-based access control, etc. We need to make sure that we have built-in step-up flows and approval flows, human in the loop flows, right? Because we need to get ready to an era where we will get a lot of those requests, and those are free form, kind of free language requests. Those are not point and click user interface buttons that and forms like we used to be getting in our SaaS application, traditional SaaS interfaces that we develop today. I think that when you have that foundation in place, you will be able to quickly add new tools and new kind of skills to your agentic interfaces. So definitely think about kind of those guardrails as you build the foundations. Don't just think about the cool feature that you can release or the cool tool that you can release for agents, but actually how also to prevent from data coming out to places where it's not supposed to, how you don't break compliance, and you don't expose your customers in a way that can damage their brand and your brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Sagi, thank you so much. Sagi's gonna stick around and we'll have a round of questions later. What I would like to do now is I'll do my screen share, and I prepared a little demo to show you what we've been building, and yeah, a little sign of things to come as well. Just give me one moment, please. Just bear with me, because screen sharing is always fun, as you all know. Okay. So I'm going to share screen here, and Remy, can you just give me a thumbs up if you, Remy and Lior, if you can see my screen? It looks like it. Just one moment. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you, Leo. All right. So we're not going to get into like a full, demo of Frontegg, but just to give you like in a nutshell, really what we do. So we handle user authentication and authorization, right? Now, basic premise, basic idea is we give you a very easy interface that's no code, where your clients can, you can decide the UI and the authorization methods and the authentication methods, right? So over here, you see, for example, if I make these changes, it's going to apply dynamically. Now, again, we're not going to get into all of this. I just want to explain that that's part of what's going to happen. I have a sample application running our React SDK. And we have many, many different SDKs that we support, including mobile, web, and front end and back end. And then we have our dashboard, right? So this is where you can manage all of your users and accounts in your Frontegg account. And we support multi-tenancy as well. And we support multi-apps. So you can actually connect multiple applications under the same Frontegg account and control which user is assigned to each of these applications. Okay. Now let's just jump straight into the demo and the AI options here. So let me just quickly show you an example. So I'm going to go into my app that's running locally. Let me actually log out real quick. And cool. Now you see this hosted login page, the Frontegg hosts for you. You can connect your own custom domain. Right now I'm using the default one. And I can authenticate either with my email or with my, with Google social authentication, right? And it's the same user. So I just did that. Now I'm authenticated into my Acme Core sample application, right? And you see we have a little dashboard here on the left that shows us the current assignments, the current tasks that I need to get by, right? So this is like my SaaS demo. And then over here, we have our chatbots that we can toggle on or off. Now, the way this project works, so this is using our, just following our documentation. So if you go to Frontegg, you can actually create a trial account, a 30-day trial account. And this will take you here to the docs. If you look over here, and we show how to set it up. We also walk you through the actual authentication, the authorization, and the available tools, right? So very, very quick, just in one note, you have the agent. So that's what you're seeing here on the right. Then you have the LLM under it. In this case, I'm using OpenAI 4.0, which is a little old at this point, but that's okay. We'll get by, right? So when you go and create an agent, you actually select the model provider. We support all the major players. So you do need to bring your own API key, essentially. And then we're using LangChain as the orchestration. So that's basically the software that takes the prompt from the user, sends it over to ChatGPT, handles all the reasoning, right, and everything like that, and gives us the output back to us. And then my agent that I have right now is auto-assigned, and that's another nice part here, is that you can either have the agent available to all users, which is what I'm doing right now, okay? Or you can have it not auto-assigned, and then you can actually go in here and assign it to individual users, okay? So when you go to Assign Applications Agent, right now you see Roy AI is assigned to my user because it's auto-assigned. But if I wanted to, I could have complete control over which user is assigned, okay, to which agent. I can have different agents. Now, the agents have tools. So let's look at a quick example of what that actually means in practice. I'm currently authenticated, and hi, I'm Jenny, I'm your assistant, blah, 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 right? We've all seen these types of interfaces, and I can ask, who am I? Now, what's happening behind the scenes is I'm authenticated as a user. Frontegg issued a token for me, and I'm connected to my application that has access to the AI agent, right? And that took me to reasoning inside of the LLM, which basically says the user wants to know who they are. I need to use Frontegg's tools, basically, to get the user context and get the tenants and get the entitlements. And that is the output that we're seeing over here, okay? You can see my email, my ID, right? And then if you look at like a more legacy or like the way people used to handle this in the past, and honestly still use it a lot, but I think we are moving forward from this, is you'd have something like an admin portal, right? Which we also provide from our SDK, so I can make changes and see all that information, right? But I think 2025, 2026, people are getting lazier by the day, and they just want to talk to, someone, to an agent, and just have it say everything they want. So that's a small example. Now let's look maybe at the more practical example. So I actually prepared this repo for you. You can go ahead and download it. Let's see, I'll add it in here. And then if anyone wants to try it out, completely free. And you can open your Frontegg account, and then you'll basically have the same code I have here, right? Cool. Now, let's look at a maybe slightly more practical example. So I see here in my company announcements, we have joined our new team members. We have 3 new team members joining, right? So I just created a prompt for it, like ahead of time, right? Now, here's what it says. Actually, before we handle that, let's try. I need to send a welcome message to my new colleagues. Sorry if I have typos. I do. That's okay. Let's see what we get, right? So we're gonna wait for the response, and basically what it does is it reasons behind the scenes. So it says the user wants the user wants to send a message. What Slack channels do I have access to, right? And it knows that because of the tools. So if we go back to Slack, we have the Slack tool connected to our agent, and it has the permission to list channels and send messages to the Slack channel. And I can edit that and add scopes or remove scopes, okay? So again, the user is passing a request. This goes to Frontegg's AI agent that you see here. It lists the available tools, and it knows that it can list channels and send messages in the Slack channels, and that's how we get the message sent, okay? Let's look at another example. I created a Jira account for myself, just a free Jira account, right, Atlassian. And let's say I have here a task for SSR implementation. I'm just going to be super lazy and just copy this over. And I'm going to say, create a Jira ticket under my name, SSR implementation in progress, right? And let's see what it does. Now, that's really the beauty of it, is that we are telling, okay, because the valid project key is required. Keep is provided for, okay, let's say list my project, right? So that's, again, reasoning. It's trying to see if it can post a Jira ticket. It's checking, okay, yeah, we have key learn Jira, right? Is this the one? We have, this is the MFLP. Okay, so let's use this one, right? So let's do created on, and let's see what it does. So it's reasoning, it's thinking. Okay, ticket created. It gives me a summary, right? Status and everything like that. And if I refresh my page, there it is. It was created, right? So the beauty of it is I'm logged in as a user. This user is already authenticated by Frontegg. So we know we can trust them, right? We know they have access to our AI agent, and the AI agent has access to the different tools. And therefore, it can do everything we asked it to do, and I can speak to it in natural language as an end user, and it does all the reasoning for me behind the scenes. Now, in theory, you can do all of this with roles and permissions, right? But what you can't do is actually keep that sort of single sign-on experience without actually authenticating into all the different services. So the agent is actually authenticating into these third-party services for us, right? So you can see how this can be very powerful. I can chain these commands together. I can tell it, create a new Jira ticket for me and message my colleague on Slack. And I prepared a few other integrations that aren't connected yet, but I could set a calendar event for me to remember to work on it. And yeah, you're getting the point of it, right? Now, just to mention this, we have a ton of integrations with all the sort of major ones that we've been asked to integrate with. We add these monthly. New ones are coming out all the time. If you have any suggestions, any ones that you would want to see here, happy to check it out as well. And just to show what the process looks like for setting up one of these, I prepared a little integration guide here. Again, it's in the repo, so there's a little MD file here, and super simple. You just go to this URL and create an OAuth 2.0 integration, and then you give it the scopes. So the scopes determine what the tool can do, what the AI agent can do using the tool, right? And here's the callback URL. We're also going to give you that URL. So when you actually go and add the integration, let's go with Calendly. This is the redirect URL for the OAuth 2.0 integration, okay? And you assign it to an agent. Yeah, and that's basically it. Now, again, happy to hear if you guys have any questions or any use cases you think I didn't cover here that you would like to see. Awesome. Lior and Remy, I'll let you take it away from here.
All right. Thank you, Roy, and thank you, Sagi. So I hope everybody got some good value out of that. I know it's a lot, and the space is super dynamic. So that was really in the weeds and comprehensive for this product. And I would love to hear any questions you might have about that particular product, as well as more broadly the space, the direction, anything that is on your mind. We're going to now have an audience Q&A. So feel free to ask technical deep dive questions of either Sagi or Roy or both, as well as broader questions. We welcome them all. So let's see what we have. And by the way, you click on the question mark icon for Q&A. So it's going to be on the right-hand side. It's going to give people a couple of minutes. All right, I didn't. Getting private messages. All right, so I got some messages separately, so hold on in the chat. Okay, so one of the questions is about our roadmap. So what's on the roadmap for Frontegg's AI capabilities, and how are we planning on better serving builders of AI agents?
Yeah, so maybe I can take that. So I think that we're trying to kind of see or take a holistic over this evolution that we're going through, and going both kind of wide and deep into the use cases. So definitely on going deep, we're seeing more and more multi-tenant requests, more tooling around enabling building agents and access to the ecosystem, and building built-in guardrails in those regards. When we're thinking about enabling more use cases, then definitely we hear a lot of struggle from existing SaaS owners on how they can kind of open up more agentic interfaces within their products. and that's something that we definitely see as something that is enablement for a real kind of step forward in this agentic revolution that we're going through, and we're working a lot to try and solve those challenges as well. And stay tuned, because I think in the upcoming weeks we'll see a lot of great stuff coming out of our product team. Exciting news that will be coming as well in those areas, and that's really, really exciting, at least for me, because just as we enabled all other interfaces and types of challenges for our customers to really step in and allow their usage in their product in a much more interesting and value creating way, that will definitely continue to happen.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Sagi. Finally got the chat to work properly, so now I can see people's names as well. So I'm going to bring this one up. So we have a question from Mark. Oh, here we go. Okay, we have a question from Mark Harkin. You mentioned guardrails, but I find the Surgeon General's warnings for most tech nowadays is for the users and not for the technology. To be honest, how do we attempt to correct that? So whoever would like to take a stab at that.
So I think the question is like, okay, you talk a lot about the users, right? User error, but not the technology. I can say from my perspective, when it comes to actually guardrails on the technology itself, when you talk about guardrails for AI, for LLMs, right? So the first thing is literally what can the agent do? So if you saw in the demo earlier, I showed you the different scopes. So I tell my clients, like, be as less permissive, like the least permissive you can be with your AI agents. Give it the minimum amount of permissions and scopes that you can give it. I think that's a good first principle, right? If it doesn't have access to something, it can't mess it up, basically, right? Sagi, do you have any other sort of, like, how do we attempt to basically protect against those technologies?
Yeah, I see that. I see the point, right? Like, a lot of the industry's guardrails today are really kind of this Surgeon General style warnings, like don't prompt this way, don't expose this data. And to be honest, I don't buy that model, obviously. So what we're trying to do at Frontegg.ai is kind of flip it back onto the system. Guardrails should be enforced in code, not just printed. And if a support agent is only allowed to issue a $200 refund, then the system literally will not let it issue $201 refund without an approval from somebody, right? And if an agent is bound to some tenant, like to an Acme tenant, it physically cannot pull data from Beta Corp tenant. So that would just not be impossible, and we have to enforce that. I think that's also like a mental shift. Which treat AI agents like they were real employees, right, or real users within our product, and really add some very strict enforcement on the data and on the activities, on the actions, and that's the shift that has to be made. I will definitely say that as with every new technology, we remember the same from when mobile was introduced and when APIs started to become a standard. Those things take time, and this is why usually the activity is also taken into those kind of staging use cases, and then to real production use cases, and then to sensitive use cases. That's why some of the tools today, even if you go to to your Cloud or ChatGPT, you can access Google Workspace, Google Calendar, but you cannot perform actions on your account. You can only pull data, and this is exactly the kind of the step-by-step evolution that is happening, and I believe that this evolution is happening very fast. So in 6 months from now, we will see completely different level of enforcement, and thus also completely different level of capabilities and options to utilize the technology.
All right, thank you, Sagi. Yeah, and guys, follow Frontegg on LinkedIn and on different social channels, because we're soon going to be rolling out a solution that addresses some of these things, taking it in a new direction, allowing agents to do more and fully realize their potential in a safe way. So watch this space. All right, so we're gonna start to wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for joining, and thank you to our speakers, Roy and Sagi. I'd like to just mention that we have, let me get back there. So in the next day or two, all attendees will be receiving either a 3-in-1 charger for those of you in the US, I think most are, or a gift card if you're outside of the US. So you'll be getting an email very shortly. You'll also be receiving soon this webinar recording on demand. So you can always look back or share with your friends. And visit frontegg.com and frontegg.ai if you would like to try this out for yourself. It's pretty easy to onboard. You can try both capabilities, so you can find our authorization for Frontegg, our classic SIAM platform at frontegg.com, and Frontegg AI, also you'll find it from there, also as a standalone page. You can go and try it for free and feel what it does hands-on for yourself. So thank you again to all of our attendees and to our speakers, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.